So with the Tinetti, it's the Performance Orientated Mobility Assessment, often called POMA for short. So the first is sitting balance. So this is either 0 or 1. 0 if you're leaning or slouching in the chair, unable to sit in the midline. 1 is sitting safely. Then you go on to 2. Is the patient able to rise from the chair without using their arms, or able with using help, or unable without help, able using arms to help, or able without using arms? So you would ideally have a chair without arms, but you know, if you have got a chair with arms, just ensure that the patient's arms are almost across their chest so that they're not resting them on their knees to help. So are you able to come up into standing? So if they're able to rise in 1 attempt, that's a 2. If they fail to rise out and have to use their arms to push up, so you give them 1 or 2 attempts and then they start to get a bit distressed and use the arms. So that's absolutely fine. So that would be a 1. Now is just instruct the patient to get out of the chair. They can use their arms and you just want to see how many attempts it takes them to get out of the chair. So if you want to come and stand up. So that was in 1 attempt, so that would be your 2. If you get somebody, all right, come and stand up out of the chair. And if they do get up, but it takes more than 1 attempt, it's a 1. And again, if they're unable to get out, it's a 0. Now we're wanting to assess the immediate standing balance. So that's the standing balance in the first 5 seconds. So you can stand, feet in the normal position, quite close together, so that's a 2. And good standing balance, no sway. Just looking at their feet position, so that's a wide base of support, so that would be a 1. If they got up when you felt you needed to hold on to them, or they immediately held on to a walking frame, that would be a 0. So next one is standing balance. So it's getting over the first 5 seconds, because often after that time the person gets their balance. So then you're assessing whether they're steady, whether they have a wide base of support or a narrow base of support. By the got, as I say, your normal standing position, feet shoulder width apart, that's your narrow base of support. If you see somebody standing with their feet wide, that's your wide base of support. Or again, if they need support, that would be a 0, because their standing balance is unsteady. So the next one, you have the patient with their back, you have to have the back to the chair, and you're going to give 3 nudges using the palm of your hand on the sternum. They're light nudges. Make sure that the patient isn't touching the chair with the backs of their legs, and you're just assessing their balance. So I'm just going to give you 3 nudges. You've got your feet shoulder width apart, so that should be the normal standing balance. So here we go. Just make sure you've got a hand behind as well. I'm just going to go nudge. Good, and again, nudge, and once more, nudge. And that's good standing balance with the feet shoulder width apart. So we'll just demonstrate now somebody who staggers. So they do initially just slight loss of balance and then steady and correct their position. So we'll do another 3 nudges, so this one, that's it. And again, so just once more, try to stay steady. I'm just going to give you a nudge, and it's so a momentary loss of balance, but quickly adjust and then able to stay steady. The one where you'd have no points is when you really do have to support the patient and they go to fall. So just going to give you 3 nudges. So here's the first one. Okay, and then you need to just give that support, otherwise they're in danger of falling. Next section now is you just ask the patient, again standing feet shoulder width apart, so certainly not a wide base of support. You ask them to close their eyes and instruct them that you'll count to 10. Just observe that they're not touching the chair with the backs of their legs. Alright, so I'm in front of you, so I'm going to support you if you need to, but if you could close your eyes and I'm going to count to 10. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and open them. So that's full marks up. Now, if you ask somebody to close their eyes and they're unsteady, you might need to support them straight away, in which case you probably wouldn't want to repeat it. So just close your eyes now, and I'm going to count to 10. So 1, 2, And again, so straight away they're using their eyes to balance, so it's pretty evident that that's going to be a naught. Then you're asking the patient to turn 360 degrees. What you're looking for full marks is a smooth movement round, equal steps, and the patient staying steady. If they stagger or turn around 360 degrees but they're a little unsafe, you'd lose a point. If it's discontinuous steps, you'd also lose a point. So it's a score out of 2. So 2 would be a continuous steps, 360 degrees. 1 would be if they're discontinuous steps or if the patient sort of staggers. So if you'd like to turn 360 degrees, so that's a smooth movement, patient staying steady, so that will be your 2 points. We then ask the patient to sit down as the end of this section of the test. So you're looking for a smooth movement they can use without using their arms to sit down. So without using your arms, just try to sit safely on the chair. Okay. So slow, controlled movement, so that's your 2 points. So the next part of the assessment is the gait. So you need about 15 metres, so it's ideal to open the consulting room door and watch the patient walk. The first is the initiation of gait. So are there any hesitancy or multiple attempts to start or no hesitancy? Then you're looking for step length and height. Step symmetry, so you need equal stride length. So if it's unequal, it would be a naught, equal stride length is a 1. You're also looking for step continuity, so any stopping or discontinuity between steps is a naught. If steps appear continuous, it's a 1. And you're looking for the path, the estimation. You can do this in relation to floor tiles. So you just observe somebody walking approximately 10 feet. So if you're just walking now, so if you're walking in a straight line, equal steps, that's your 2. If you can still walk in a straight line but you need to use a walking aid, that's a 1. Or otherwise, if you can walk unaided but your path is slightly deviated, it would still be a 1. And then if you're walking but it's marked deviation, that's a naught. So next you're observing the trunk when somebody's walking. So if they're walking in a straight line and their back is upright, arms to the side, knees not flexed, that's a 2. So that's your normal walking gait. Now again, if you ask somebody to walk with their arms are widespread or possibly their knees slightly flexed, that would be a 1.
Thomas has got a load of things going on. I'll write it down as quick as I can. No, it's fine. There's no
and as soon as somebody needs a walking aid to walk with to enable them to keep their trunk steady, that's a naught. So finally, when you're observing the gait, if somebody's walking with their heels almost touching, that's your normal gait pattern. But if you're observing somebody walking and their feet are wide apart, so their heels are apart, that would be a naught because they're requiring again that wide base of support to maintain their balance.